What's up, guys? Rick here, and with golf coming back, I wanted to celebrate with a giveaway. So I will describe the 4 ways that you can get your entries into this drawing, but let me show you what I'm giving away. It's this Rickie Fowler autographed flag from the 2018 US Open at Shinnecock Hills. It is a beautiful big autograph by Rickie. It's embroidered. It's an absolute awesome piece. And I've got 2 of them, okay? So that's going to be the prize for this giveaway. And there's 4 ways to enter. And if you enter in all 4, you maximize your chances. They accumulate. So here we go. On Twitter, I have a pinned tweet for this giveaway that all you have to do is retweet and follow me on Twitter. That's way number 1, and I will link that in the description. On Instagram, I have a similar post. All you need to do is like that post and follow me on Instagram, which I will also link in the description. On YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the RickRunGood YouTube channel and comment on this video with who your favorite golfer is. That's entry number 3. And the 4th way is leave a 5-star rating and review on the podcasting platform of your choice, iTunes, wherever else you listen to podcasts. Leave a 5-star rating and review, say something nice about the show, and leave me a way to get in touch with you, preferably a Twitter handle in case you win. Those are the 4 ways. You do them all, you maximize your chances, because I'm going to throw them all into a bowl, and I'm going to draw out 2 names on May 17th, which is the date of TaylorMade's Driving Relief, where we will see Rickie Fowler tee it up with his partner Matthew Wolff against Rory McIlroy and Dustin Johnson. We are so close to live golf coming back. I'm absolutely stoked about it, and I'm sure you guys are too. Best of luck. Talk to you soon. All right, Scottsdale Arizona Open. We've been teasing this event for a couple of weeks because it is not only one of the, if not the largest prize pool that we've seen in mini tour golf over the past 6, 7, 8 weeks since golf has gone into a hiatus, but also we are now starting to see the best players that we've seen in this field. So let's talk a little bit about the event, because it's going to take place at Talking Stick Golf Club. I believe it is the North course, which is the same course that they've used for the last 3 years. So you can go and check out the tournament history, and you'll notice that the guy who's $11,000, Joel Dahmen, won this event 3 years ago. It is 54 holes, so it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, with a length, a yardage of about 7,200 yards, which is probably on the longer side of some of the mini tour events, some of the outlaw tour events that we've seen. There was a course a couple of weeks ago where it was like 6,300 yards. So a little bit longer, really much more difficult course. This is not going to be a shootout. The last 3 years, the winning scores have been 10 under, 9 under, 10 under. So I like that. Over 3 days, you shoot 3 or 4 under par a day, you might just go out and win this thing, or be in a playoff, or certainly be in contention. So consider that. $20,000 up top for the winner of the event, but $50,000 up top for just round 1 of Showdown on DraftKings. Keep in mind, it's a much different strategy when you're playing 1 round at a time. A lot of volatility is what you want to embrace. So let's talk through some of these guys here, and we'll start $11,000, Joel Dahmen. I think he's going to be pretty popular. What we've talked about over the course of these mini tour events is, because the range of skill levels is so large in a mini tour event, I tend to roster a lot of guys to the top. Eric Patterson, we recorded a podcast earlier. He had mentioned that over the last 4 or 5 weeks, no one longer than 16-1 has won a mini tour event. So generally speaking, the shorter guys, the best guys in the field who you think is going to contend, are usually contending. Joel Dahmen, I suspect, will be pretty popular. He shot a 58 a couple of days ago. Shot a 58 at Mesa Country Club. He won this event 3 years ago in 2017. This is certainly, obviously, a really good fit for him. He's the best player in the field. He's ranked 70th in the world, which is the best official world golf ranking. He should be $11,000. There's a case to be made that in 18 holes, basically anyone is fadeable. if he gets to 30% owned, which he might be, over one round, you should probably stay away from Dahmen. I don't know if I want to bet him at 5-1, but I'd rather bet him than be all in on him in a one-round event, if that makes sense. After that is Kevin Streelman, and Streelman is kind of compelling because if you go back and think back to however many weeks it was where we were still doing betting previews, and I, my betting tool basically takes into account volatility of golfers and volatility in terms of both directions, guys that are capable of gaining a ton of strokes on the field. Kevin Streelman is an outlier in the positive direction. Meaning he pops off. Okay, he will, he'll flounder around, be 40th, 50th, pop up, finish second, pop up, finish third. Him and Kevin Na are two guys that always grade out well in my betting models because they are so volatile in the positive direction. That is good when you get to a showdown slate. Like someone who can just absolutely catch fire for 18 or 36 holes, Kevin Streelman becomes an interesting option at the top 10,600 because I suspect he's going to be a lot less owned than someone like a Joel Dahmen will be. Couple other names here of note. Matt Picanso, I believe is how he pronounces it, is a flat 10,000. He won the Legacy Classic last week. He was 18 under par. He went to a playoff. He beat the amateur in the playoff. So he's someone that is obviously playing well at the moment. And then I have a couple other names here. So Dylan Wu at 9,800. I don't think I want to play him in DraftKings. Dylan Wu, very solid. To me, doesn't scream someone who's going to go 63, 64, 63 and win a golf tournament. This, which is also not very good for showdown scoring. But this week, you're not going to need to go that low. So I will tell you, I've already bet Dylan Wu at 16-1 because I like him for the entirety of the tournament as opposed to just one single round at a time. I think he's a much more solid option. I would prefer to just get access to him in an outright bet. Callum Hill, I think, is interesting from a kind of a sneaky standpoint. He hasn't been all that great. He missed the cut last week at the Legacy Classic, but like when the PGA Tour and the European Tour and everything shut down, I don't even know, but we're probably 6 weeks ago. Callum Hill came out and he won on the Outlaw Tour right away. Now he's kind of been probably not great by his own standards over the course of the past couple of weeks, but he has a third place finish here in 2018, 2 years ago. Talking stick, in theory, should be a pretty good spot for Hill to bounce back a little bit. Let's see who else I have here. I know that Nate Lashley's catching steam. He's $9,300. His betting odds are already, I think he dropped from 25 to like 18 or 16 or something like that because he's catching a lot of steam right now. I get it, right? I mean, when he won Rocket Mortgage, well, first of all, he's a PGA Tour player, right? He's a PGA Tour player in a field that has a lot of Korn Ferry guys, has a lot of mini tour guys, and there's only a handful of PGA Tour players in it. He's not only a PGA Tour player, but he's a PGA Tour winner. So I get why he's catching steam. He went wire to wire at Rocket Mortgage. I understand that. He has that go low ability. But someone else who has go low ability is Brandon Harkins. Doesn't have his PGA Tour card for this year. He's been playing on the Korn Ferry Tour, but a guy who's had multiple years of tour eligibility. He was always like a big first round leader bet for us. A guy that can put it together for one round, can put it together for maybe 2 rounds, but has trouble putting it together for 4. Well, I'm not asking him to put it together for 4. I'm asking him to put it together for 1. So Lashley, I understand, but a pivot to someone like Harkins is a bit more interesting. Then you get a lot of guys here that we've been talking about over and over. It's Jeremy Paul, 9,200, which would be, it still might be a steal. That would be an absolute steal if this was week long. If this was an entire tournament contest, Jeremy Paul at $9,200 would be an unbelievable steal. He finished 3rd last week, 5th, 6th, and 7th the weeks before that. He is absolutely peaking right now. He's playing so well. I hate that you're trying to just guess right on kind of which round he goes low. But Jeremy Paul at 9,200 is interesting. KK Limbasu, Mark Anguiano, Brent Grant. Those are all guys that we've talked about over the past couple of weeks. I do think Grant is interesting. He's a long hitter. This is a longer course. He took off last week. He's been prepping for this event. He's one of the bombers on the Korn Ferry Tour. I like where he's at $8,800. He can go really, really low. We saw him shoot. It would have been, I guess, 2 weeks ago at GCU Championship. I believe he had the round of the day on Sunday. He was like 8 under par, closed with a flurry at GCU Championship. So he's someone who can certainly rack up the showdown points for me. And then just continuing down here, I mean, there are a lot of, keep in mind, this is a 153-man field. This is by far the biggest field we've seen thus far. So, I mean, you got to think that there's going to be plenty of names that a lot of us have not seen yet that probably go overlooked. In the low 8 range, I mean, Yannick Paul is here. This is the first time that him and his brother Jeremy have been separated by this much in both the betting odds and the DraftKings salaries. It's not necessarily a knock on Yannick. He just hasn't played as well as Jeremy has, but Jeremy's been lights out. So it's not necessarily a knock. Yannick trying to he just keeps on going. I think he's a fine play. And then here's one. Colton Yates at 7,900. Colton Yates went full Keegan last week, meaning he was the first round leader and missed the cut. I don't necessarily care as much about the missed cut as I care about the 7 or 8 under he shot in round number 1. There's only so many guys in this field that have the ability to fire something that low. And now, if anybody fires 7 or 8 under in a single round here at Talking Stick, it's going to be a massive round. But 3, 4, maybe even 5 under, that might be the best round of the day. Probably 5 under any given day. 65, which it's a par 70. So I like that Yates has that ability to go low. Outside of the missed cut, 3 straight top 10s before that, so he was playing well. He finished 5th here last year, so he's someone that's probably going to be a staple. I won't bet him, but he'll probably, I might bet him. I might bet him. But I would say I'd rather have him in my showdown lineups than bet him. Even though I still might bet him, I would prefer him in my showdown lineups. Brady Calkins, that's your defending champion, 7,800. Brady Schnell made a lot of noise about kind of VJ playing on the Korn Ferry Tour, but Schnell is a Korn Ferry Tour guy. A lot of talk coming out of Arizona is that Schnell is familiar with the course, playing well. He's also, I want to say 66 to 1. Let me check this. 80 to 1. I might bet him at 80, even though I know the shorter guys are generally winning out here on these tours. So I am firing a dart. A lot of my betting attention will probably be focused at the top of the board, but Schnell is someone that might get just a little bit from me, a little investment from me down at 80 to 1. Then you keep going down here. The bottom of the 7s, I mean, there's a few names we recognize and have seen over the course of the past couple weeks. Joe Fryer, Colton Lappa, Jared Sawada. Those are guys who have played well. Hans Reamers. This is also a Eric Patterson special. He pointed Hans out to me, and I believe what Eric liked about him was he finished last week, I believe, with one of the best rounds in the final round. Or it was the second round. Let's see. Here he is. Hans Reamer went 68, 65, 67 last week. Good for a tie for 7th. So ability to go low probably will be overlooked by most. I like Hans Reamers. And then also I'm back on Samuel Saunders. Not the Sam Saunders, but Samuel Saunders. Got off to a really slow start last week. I'm going to pull his scorecard up here. So if you go to round 1, he went out in 1 over par, which is basically a recipe to miss the cut in an Outlaw Tour event. But he comes in a flurry. He comes in 32, which is 4 under, and he played his last 6 holes 5 under par. Played much better in rounds 2 and rounds 3. shot a 67 in round 2, shot a much cleaner 68 in round 3. He had, I believe he was 5th in birdie breakers last week, which is really what I want in a single round showdown. He's $6,900. He would allow for a lot of flexibility up at the top of the board. Erik Ash, your defending champion, or won this, maybe not defending, 2 years ago, I believe he won it, because Brady Calkins won it last year, Ash won it 2 years ago, and Damon won it 3 years ago. But he is $6,800. And then you're starting to get to names that, quite frankly, I don't know a lot about these guys. A few that pop out. Stephen Kupcho comes from a really good golfing family. His sister, Jennifer, won the Augusta National Women's Am last year. But Kupcho has been around the mini tour scene for some time, and he actually finished, let me pull this up here real quick, finished T17 last year at this event. He finished T31 2 years ago, and he finished T13 3 years ago. So he has now made the cut all 3 years, or the last 3 years of history that I have at Talking Stick. Playing decently well right now. He shot a 65 in that final round a couple of years ago, which is that's kind of the number we're looking for. Someone go out and shoot a 65. That is going to be very, very helpful in your DraftKings lineup. So those are the guys I'm targeting. I probably will just mix in a lot of, quite frankly, huge field. A lot of the ownership is going to be targeted on the names that we know, the names that we've seen over the course of the past couple weeks, but there's probably 80 guys in this field that we've not talked about or no one has played over the course of the last 6 or 7 weeks. So I'm going to sprinkle in, I'll do the core cascade, I'll sprinkle in a lot of these guys that really no one's ever heard of and get them at 1% ownership, if that. And really, I really think we're going to get a lot of guys that are just completely unowned, quite frankly. And there's going to be a lot of ways to win GPPs with 50K up top. Additionally, just to talk betting really, really quickly, I mentioned it before. I did bet Dylan Wu. The idea that I get 3 rounds is much better here for Wu than asking him to do it all in 1 round. I did bet Brady Schnell 80-1, and I'm considering there is a bet right now on some books that is top European, where Jeremy Paul is 4-1 against Alex Cheka, Caleb Hill, Jimmy Gunn, and Yannick Paul. There's a good chance that Jeremy Paul is the best player, or at least in recent form, he definitely is, out of those other guys. And Caleb Hill and Paul have the same odds to win this outright. They're both 16-1, but you can get Jeremy Paul at 4-1 as top European, and Hill is plus 275. Yeah, I'm betting that. So go and check some of these lines. They've got a lot of betting options, a lot of top 5, a lot of top 10 stuff that, and even first round leader that we haven't really seen over the course of the past few weeks. A lot more betting options this week. So go check out the value there. But yeah, we're getting closer. We've got live golf with PGA Tour players this week. We're going to have the TaylorMade match with Rory, Rickie, DJ, and Wolf coming up on Sunday. Then next week we'll get Tiger and Phil, and then a couple weeks after that we're going to have PGA Tour golf back. So it'll be a lot of fun. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've entered the giveaway for the Rickie Fowler signed flags. Tweet me at RickRunGood or leave a comment below. Best of luck this week. Talk to you guys soon.